This is the drive home with TT and Zac, driving home from the den for the Millwall drive home, where it finished. Millwall 0, Birmingham
0.
Thanks, Zac. Well, before I say anything else, it's probably one of the most difficult weeks that me and Zac have ever had. Losing our mum, Zac's nan. And I say that because I know this is a football channel, but you travel with us all around the country, and Mum used to watch the drive home, was probably the biggest supporter of it, and sadly we had to lay her to rest last week, so it's going to be a difficult one. I don't know whether I'm going to get through it without showing my emotion, but love you, Mum, love you always. And now we'll talk about a 0-0 result. It was a game of few chances, but a game where you'd hope that we'd have taken one or two of them. And it's weird because you drive home with a 1-0 or 2-0 win, and it completely changes the dynamics of the game. It changes how you feel about it. But we didn't take the chances, and a couple of great saves from Lee Camp. I think probably their goalkeeper would have picked up man of the match. First half was very even. I felt I didn't think there was too much in it. I felt that both teams cancelled each other out. There was a lot of interplay, but when it got in and around the defence, both teams seemed to have three centre-backs that just cleared nearly everything up. I think we were, like I said, evenly matched. Second half started a bit brighter from the lines, and certainly when we made the changes and went 4-4-2, we looked the more aggressive side, the more dominant side, and we looked more likely to score, although Birmingham did have a chance where, you know, they've called from a penalty, but we can see from where we're sitting that the Birmingham players pulling, I think it's Murray Wallace back, and then Murray Wallace goes down, and then he tries to pull him back, but the first initial foul would have been on Murray Wallace, in my opinion anyway, so it certainly wasn't a penalty, and he could have buried that, but he didn't. The chances that, you know, you'd hope that could go in for us, and Budvarsson had a great header, headed down and pushed wide, and I think it was Jed Wallace had a shot that Lee Camps tipped around the post. I don't remember Bartosz Bieliakowski having to make a save, and that will tell you a lot, because, you know, Birmingham have been on decent form. They've got two form strikers, and I don't think they really got into the match. I've really rated Hogan coming in and Jukovic, but they were really nullified. And if it weren't for a few defensive errors at the back by Hutchinson missing the ball a couple of times, you know, Pearce missing the ball, if it hadn't have been for defensive errors, I don't think Birmingham would have had virtually any chances whatsoever. We started with the three at the back anyway. So we had Bartosz Bieliakowski in goal, Alex Pearce, Jake Cooper and Sean Hutchinson in defence. A right wing back of Marlon Romeo, left wing back of Murray Wallace. The central midfield pairing of Jason Malumbe and Ryan Woods. Left winger was Mason Bennett, making his home debut. The striker was John Daddy Budvarsson, and the right winger was Jed Wallace. The highlights for me today, I don't know whether we're going to rate them individually. Zac, I'll ask you to talk about a couple of the players, but the highlights for me today were the wing backs. I felt both Murray Wallace and Marlon Romeo were extremely offensive, and a lot of our attacking play was reliant upon those two getting in the attacking third and putting crosses in. And Marlon Romeo once again has been absolutely superb in my opinion. I felt that his end product and his touches, I know he got caught out a couple of times, but his end product and his deliveries into the box were really first class, and was unlucky not to score from a couple of his deliveries. And likewise the defensive qualities, as well as the ability to run and cross the ball. I thought Murray Wallace done equally well. Zac, who would you say was your man of the match today?
Well, it is another split decision. I keep doing these, but John Daddy Budvarsson, he marshalled their defence, even though it sounds dumb, because they had two big defenders. Actually, it was three big defenders, and he tried to win the balls in the air. He won one ball which the Camp pushed past the post really well. So he scored no goals when he's up front, but you don't have to score goals to be a brilliant striker. I thought he played well. He's my one of my man in the matches, and then Murray Wallace also played really well because the way he run, he showed a bit of pace today. Same with Budvarsson. He crossed the ball in well. He run down the wing quite well too, and he covered for Mason Bennett really well. So he deserves my other man of the match.
I would say that Budvarsson's technically probably the best player we've got in the team. Like I said, I'm not gonna rate the players individually, but I will talk about most of their impact. And Budvarsson he put himself about a lot, and the fact that he's gone from striker to left midfield and done admirably well there will tell you the resilience and the adaptability that he's got. I do think defensively with the game that we played, you look at Ryan Woods and Jason Malumba, and I felt as both central defensive midfielders, they look really good. Both of them at a number of times, the passing range of both of them, the ability to know where the space is, the amount of times that you look at professional footballers and you just think, just turn. You've got the ball's coming into you, there's space behind you, and turn, and for them to turn, and they don't do it. Jason Malumba very, very rarely doesn't do that. He always seems to he always knows that there's space behind him, and Ryan Woods' abilities, a couple of times he got caught on the ball, but his ability to try and switch the play, we did that quite a lot. My one disappointment with both of them is that because they play so deep and they are orchestrating it, neither one of them can get to further forward, which means we're relying on the centre-backs, one of the centre-backs, to get in that attacking position. And unfortunately, the likes of Cooper and Hutchinson, when they get into that final third or in and around the box, they're just not making the right decision, and that is where we look a little bit inept in that final third, because the quality players on the ball are not getting on the ball in and around the box, and that's obviously going to cost us in terms of scoring goals, because we do look resolute. We do look far more resolute at the back, but we're getting far too many draws and far too many 0-0s. I can remember Sheffield Wednesday, a game where we didn't really look like scoring other than Budvarsson chance. At Stoke away, another 0-0, and a 0-0 here today. And that's, if we're going, you might look at it and go, is it the attacking players? But I think that to create, it's a little bit of both. The central midfielders not getting enough far enough forward, as well as there is a lack of movement in and like that forward line. I thought Jed Wallace today, his touches in and around the box and his decision making today was far better. His crosses were better. A couple of corners that hit the near post, but on the whole, you would say that he'd had a good game. Zac, what did you think in terms of our attacking play today?
I thought it was the best in a long time. We just got really unlucky with a few chances. Like Romeo crossed one in and Bradshaw tried to pounce on it, but wait, was it it was Budvarsson actually. Romeo crossed one in a little bit and he tried to pounce on it, but if Romeo just stayed that 1 second longer, we probably would have scored.
Yeah, you're right, and like I said, that we're reliant upon our wing backs to provide the crosses in, and the delivery today was excellent. I did say to Zac that if that chance, Bradshaw is a little bit like Gazza in '96, where it just never looks like he's getting there, and if Romeo would have maybe put a little bit less on the ball or just held the ball slightly longer, it's a tap in. And like I said, we're driving home with a 1-0, could have been 2-0 win, and it changes the complexion of how it was today. I'll move on to ref watch. I'm sorry, I haven't said my man of the match. My man of the match today could have been either one of the wing backs, but I'm going to go for Marlon Romeo. For me, on the top of his game and doing everything to get a move up into the Premiership, which is a shame because I think he's been absolutely superb. So Marlon Romeo is my man of the match. We'll move on to ref watch David Webb. Like I said, Birmingham score a goal that was disallowed. It was this again. It was a push in the back, was called in the air, and the referee's blown the whistle before it hits the back of the net, as well as the penalty decision that Birmingham fans called out for. It was always, like I said, the decision was the correct decision for it not to be a penalty, and I actually felt that it should have been a foul on us. There was a game where he didn't look like he wanted to get his cards out, which is fair enough as long as you're consistent with that. A couple of I know that Marlon picked up a booking late on, and you can't really argue with it. Overall, it was a pretty average referee performance, and you can't complain about that from either side. I know that the Birmingham fans might beg to differ. It's a bit disappointing that we didn't have as many fans. As soon as they put that on Sky, our attendance always suffers, and the atmosphere wasn't great from either. Birmingham brought a decent amount down on a Wednesday night, and they're a well supported and normally a well sung club, but there wasn't much to get either fans going. If you don't mind, please stick a like on the video, put in your comments whatever you wish. We'll be back on Saturday. It has been a very tough week, and football is always a release for us, and we try and enjoy it as much as possible. There's nothing better than being around the Mill family. There's a lot of comments on Twitter. At Millwall TT was the only thing that I put out on social media wise about Mum passing away. So thank you very much for the Millwall family for all your comments. Really appreciate it. Put the likes. I'll end it there. Zac?
No one likes us.
We don't care.
We don't care.
Love you, Mum.